Hey friends, so here's a picture of John Winthrop, an engraving of John Winthrop. That's going to be the subject of our essay today, essay number 144. So it's all about John Winthrop, and maybe you can see from the title there, he is the first governor of Connecticut. So friends, this book is called American Miscellany, and it was published in 1865, and it's a random collection of essays, and today, randomly, we're going from our subject of exercise for the eyes right to Mr. John Winthrop of Connecticut. So here we are, page 309, on essay number 144, John Winthrop of Connecticut. John Winthrop, first governor of Connecticut. This distinguished gentleman, for many years the governor of Connecticut, was the eldest son of John Winthrop, the first governor of Massachusetts, and founder of the city of Boston, that famous pattern of piety and justice, as he is called in the early chronicles of New England, who emigrated to America in 1630 and brought with him the confidence and respect of the government he had left, and the most exalted and upright faculty for the duties he came to assume. Graham, adopting the thought of a classic historian, says of him that he not only performed actions worthy to be written, but produced writings worthy to be read. His son John, the subject of this brief memoir, was scarcely less distinguished. He was the heir of all his father's talent, prudence, and virtues, with a superior share of human learning, much addicted to philosophical study, and especially to physical science. He was one of the early patrons of the London Royal Society. Sir Hans Sloane and 3 other members of that society, some 50 years afterward, in commending the grandson of this gentleman to the notice of their associates, bear honorable testimony to the good repute in which the ancestor was held. They speak of the learned John Winthrop as one of the first members of the society, and who, in conjunction with others, did greatly contribute to the obtaining of our charter, to whom the Royal Society in its early days was not only indebted for various ingenious communications, but their museum still contains many testimonies of his generosity, especially of things relating to the natural history of New England. John Winthrop was elected governor of Connecticut for several years, in which station his many valuable qualities as a gentleman, a philosopher, and a public ruler procured him the universal respect of the people under his government, and his unwearied attention to the public business and great understanding of the art of government were of unspeakable advantage to them. He was twice married, his second wife being the daughter of the celebrated Hugh Peters. By this marriage he had several children, 2 of whom were sons. The elder, Fitz-John, followed in the footsteps of his father, and was elected governor of Connecticut, and held that post for 9 years, commencing in 1698, and continuing till the day of his death. Thus, father, son, and grandson died in the highest office to which the affections of the people could exalt them. I think we call that nepotism nowadays. Okay. The younger son was a member of the Massachusetts Council under the new charter granted by William and Mary, and afterward Chief Justice of the Superior Court of that state. His name was Wait Still, a compound of 2 family names, the middle name being derived from the intermarriage of Adam, his great-grandfather, with the family of Still. Wait Still Winthrop, the Chief Justice, appears to have left but 2 children, of whom John, the only son, resembled his grandfather in an ardent devotion to science, and, like him, became a distinguished member of the Royal Society, his introduction to that body being greatly facilitated by the respect in which the memory of his ancestor was yet held. Attracted by the love of his favorite studies and his attachment to the society of learned men, he removed to England and died in 1747. He had 7 children, of whom 2 were sons, John Still and Basil. On the 4th of September, 1750, the former married Jane Borland of Boston, whose daughter Anne married the late David Sears, Esquire, of that place. Oh, we've got a little footnote here. Let's go ahead and read that. Of this gentleman, a note will hardly allow, this gentleman referring to David Sears, Esquire, by the way, and if I remember correctly, the publisher of this book, the editor of this book of essays, is actually Robert Sears. So maybe that's why David Sears is in all caps there. I don't know. Okay, let's read about David Sears. Of this gentleman, a note will hardly allow us the proper space to speak of his character. Okay, and a virtue. Okay, of course. He was born on the 12th of August, 1752. He removed from Chatham to Boston in 1770 and visited England in 1774. He became acquainted with Dr. Franklin in London and took letters to his friends in France and Holland. He remained on the continent nearly 2 years and with difficulty made his way back to Boston. In various modes, his services were useful to his country. During the presidency of the older Adams, he was one of a committee of the citizens of Boston for building a frigate, the Boston, toward which he subscribed $3,000 and presenting it to the government. He was largely interested in the India and China trade and added much to his fortune. He was distinguished as an intelligent and able financier, a director in the First Bank of the United States, from its commencement to its termination, often a reference. That might be a typo. It says REFERCE, often a often a reference, maybe. In intricate cases of mercantile equity, often a maybe referee. That's not a C, that's an E. Sorry, okay. He was often a referee in intricate cases of mercantile equity, and his whole career was marked by the most incorruptible integrity, which never, for the sake of a paltry advantage, violated that punctilious delicacy which is indispensable to the character of a gentleman. Sorry, that's punctilious. Sorry, this extra small print is hard to read. But the last essay, Exercise of the Eyes, tells me I need to read this extra small print. So let's try this again. Okay. His whole career was marked by a most incorruptible integrity, which never, for the sake of a paltry advantage, violated that punctilious delicacy which is indispensable to the character of a gentleman. An easy mien, engaging in address, looks which at once each winning grace express, a life where love and truth were ever joined, a nature ever good and ever kind, a wisdom solid and a judgment clear, the smile indulgent and a soul sincere. Mr. Sears was the proprietor of a large estate in Waldo County in Maine. That might just be me not reading it correctly. A large estate in Waldo County in Maine, the settlers and tenantry of which honored and revered him, and as they became proprietors of the soil testified their gratitude for his patriarchal treatment by naming their towns in his honor. He was generous and charitable, the founder of the Widows' Fund in Trinity Church, and a contributor to numerous charities. He died in front of his home in Beacon Street, struck instantly dead by a stroke of apoplexy as he was getting into his carriage to make an afternoon visit on the 19th of October, 1816. By this affecting event, the town, Boston, has lost an eminent merchant and excellent citizen, an only child, an affectionate parent, this church, Trinity, a distinguished benefactor, society at large, a well-bred and hospitable gentleman. The same. This is hard to read, I gotta be honest. Okay, the name of Winthrop will be remembered as long as nations exist. It will rank with Newton, Boyle, and Locke, and those philanthropists of every age who are an ornament to human nature, and whose lives have been devoted to the cultivation of moral graces and the advancement of social and religious happiness, enlarging the circle of the human mind and adorning the principles of philosophy with the precepts of piety. Their fame is identified with the progress of knowledge and the diffusion of virtue. The history of such men sheds a bright and undying luster upon their country, and will call forth the grateful recollection of unborn generations. Probably true, so long as truth shall triumph over error, and the influence of Christianity be felt in removing vice and superstition from the hearts of men.